Hey guys, this is Stephen Puth, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
You are killing it right now with the three singles that you've released so far, especially this brand new one, "Look Away." Talk to me about this single, like the creative process behind it, and like you've kind of given the audience like three different tastes of like styles in a way with each single that you've released. Like, can you tell me where you're at today with this sound for "Look Away"?
Yeah, I think the previous two songs were segues leading to this style and sound. And also, I love to experiment with a bunch of ideas. But I think this recent song is really honing in on a certain sound that's pretty unique to me. So I think it'll definitely stylize my artist career.
Yeah. So with let me go back to "Sexual Vibe," which was like the first single that you released. I noticed that the acoustic version is different from the actual version that we hear. So did the was the acoustic version like that first idea in a sense, and then when you recorded it, you went to a lower register, I guess.
No, it was actually like I don't even know how to describe it. So the whole idea was on a voice note with a buddy. So the song actually was in that key, but I was trying to belt it. And then my other buddy who I was working on it with, he says to me, "Why don't you just sing it really low?" We wound up keeping it because at that point we were just writing a song. We weren't like, let's write a Steven song. Like writing, producing for others before. The acoustic version, to be honest, I'm still like I'm not the best at strumming. But also I thought I'd be boring to just doom, 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 doom. So I was like, how do I put a twist on this? And one of my favorite guitar players is James Taylor. So I was thinking to myself, why don't I just finger pick it, put it in a different key, and see what happens? And now it's more of a sensual vibe, I guess, if that isn't too cheesy, but true.
What was it about that song that you wanted it to be that first listen of Stephen Booth?
I mean, what I loved about it personally was the fact that it was retro sounding. As a song, just as I've ever made, I've never made one like that. And the title's weird. So at the very least, if I was gonna put it out, I was thinking to myself, well, at least people are gonna click it, or they're, you know. It was a very delicate process because that song on paper could sound easily offensive. So it was placating to that, but the melody was really good. That's what we started with originally. So I just thought to myself, it has to be that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now we transitioned to the third single, "Look Away," which dropped like 3 days ago. Take me to the studio with this one and like the creative process behind it. Like what made it different this time around?
What made it different was, obviously I always work with people. I'd never worked with my brother before. So he said to me, "Can you record these notes on the guitar? Just do it on your iPhone." I said, "Cool." And 3 weeks later, I walked downstairs and he had this whole idea roughly built out. And with our other friend, we wrote the song that day. And it was just a different process. I was actually glad that I wasn't playing producer on the song because I'm very new to it. But you learn a lot that way when you watch others. You just learn new tricks.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that I like about this track is like it has this kind of like dancey kind of vibe to it. So what was the idea behind that kind of vibe or that kind of sound to the song?
It's taking the idea of, imagine if you played that on the guitar really like James Bay like or Adele. It's like it'd still be probably a really good song, but it's really sad. So putting this upbeat feel to it and tempo is kind of what makes the song unique. As opposed to I just want to party or I'm really sad and I want to write a sad song. So mixing the two.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, being that this was the first time that you and your brother collaborated on a track, do you feel like it was easier because you guys are so close, or do you think because you guys are so close, like it was a lot harder to kind of collaborate?
No, I think it was absolutely easier. Like I said, I'm very new with production. I've only been doing it for a couple years. So that whole area I didn't even have to worry about. I mean, I've been watching it my whole life where I just go, okay, I don't have to do anything in that regard. Writing, lyrics, I mean, we had a third person, our buddy Cash, in the room, and you know, he's obviously, that's his field of like, profession. Like he's really good with lyrics.
Yeah.
So he was kind of the median point between that. So yeah, it was really easy. The song came together really quick, and it's, you know, it's easy to trust people when you know that they have a good idea, and they'll trust you when you have a good idea.
Right.
Yeah.
And as you've kind of given us like 3 different styles with these 3 songs of music, like does that change the way that you write the music, or does the writing process kind of is the writing process like still the same along the line?
Well, the writing process for anything is never the same. It honestly, it's the most hyperactive. It could be any way. Waking up with an idea, or just walking and going, I have no idea what we're going to talk about, or hey, I went through this. And yeah, I mean, sonically it is changing, but I think there are a couple elements that are keeping it to the point where it's like, this is a Stephen Puth song, and first and foremost, my voice, incorporation of the guitar, and that's not like on purpose. It just naturally fits where my voice register is, and it just feels nice. But yeah, I think evolving sound that's a good thing. If I put out another song that tried to sound like Sexual Vibe, or another song that sounded like Half Gone, it would just be a B version that isn't as good. Right. So what's the point in recreating something you've already done?
That's true. That's true. But like in the same sense, like, is it safe to say that you're still kind of trying to figure out your sound or who you are as an artist?
Well, I think I'm always going to try to figure out a new sound that'll complement me as an artist. But right now, yeah, this is a sound that I feel like is going to work. Right. And yeah, I mean, I'm always going to look for ways to tweak it. And that's also who you collaborate with, also what you want to talk about as a writer. And eventually you will evolve, but there'll still be some common elements that'll make it still you.
Right. When it comes down to writing the music, like, do you already have an idea of what you want to talk about, or do you just start writing to see what kind of comes out of it?
Not. You don't always have an idea. Very, very few times I've caught myself with an idea, walking into a room being like, hey, I have this concept, I have this title. Sometimes you do that, and then you wind up writing a whole different thing. But it's worth coming in somewhat prepared. Right. I always like to rely on melodies first. Yeah, I mean, that's how pretty much all the songs came to be first. It was, hey, here's this melody idea. Right. And yeah, then the words come to be. You talk with whoever you're working with, or if you're alone, depends. And you wind up walking into the story. And it's through other people's stories or your story, whatever is on your mind that day. It's not just artificial. Right. Yeah. So when you're starting off with melodies, do you just like come in here and just like start messing with whatever you can, and then something eventually comes up out of it, or do you like already have stuff in mind already as far as the melodies go? I mean, there's so many times where you walk out of the shower and you're scrambling for your phone because you think you have this great melody. Yeah. I think maybe like once or twice I've actually wound up using those melodies. But what I've also noticed is you do that, you never look at it again. Yeah. And then you look at a song that you make 6 months later, and you actually you used part of that melody without even realizing it. Oh, wow. But besides that, no, I mean, instruments, finding weird sounds like on that synth or this one, or just even on the computer, picking up guitars, whatever at that moment is just suddenly will click to you. Right. And it'll click to everyone in the room, or it won't, and then you try another idea. Right. And then another, and then something eventually clicks.
Now, speaking of like weird sounds, has there been like what's been the most strange way of creating a sound that you've used, either for your music or for someone else's music that you've worked on?
Well, the amp to the right of you, it's they can't see, but it's a Vox Valvetronics. It's nothing crazy. It's like the new edition one. I took this, which is a bass synth, one time with friends, and we ran it through that, mic'd it, and we had this terrible recording because the speakers were right there, and the feedback just, but it was the coolest noise, the feedback. Yeah. And we wound up making it part of like a riser almost, like, and it was just, it was like it was ugly but beautiful, this frequency noise where it was just piercing, but we calmed it down, and then we messed with it on the computer. That was pretty fun. I mean, sometimes it's fun to run acoustic guitars through amps, recording them. I mean, I love recording things on iPhones, piano, and then make it a sample so it sounds like that old like Kanye, like the Runaway, like when he's just hitting the note, like just doing things like that. I don't know. I'm personally, as you can see, my room is all windows when it comes to like vocals. I'm not like we need to be in an airtight room. It's just kind of whatever helps the vibe. Right. Yeah.
What happens when you actually go into an airtight room? Does that make it harder for you to like record vocals?
I like light and I like to see outside personally. Yeah. So yeah, you'll get this great vocal in this room has no bounce back of like verb or any noise. But if you're in a room with no windows, I mean, what happens if you worked a job where you worked at the basement of a building? It would probably be a little rough. Yeah. So I guess I'm kind of the same way.
You'll go back to those iPod days and play some emo music.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, no, it's definitely just more important because you can always, the thing is, I mean, if you wanted to, I mean, I actually just did this. I was in Romania and I did a song with a friend and we cut it. We were in a castle from the 1500s. And we weren't going to get the best vocal take. We're in a castle. Everything's made of stone. You're going to have natural echo. And on top of it, other people are in other rooms making music, walking around. So the whole idea was we'll just get the idea down and then we'll come back. We'll record it in a proper studio. And that's what we did. And it just at the moment. Because then the funny part is the original recording, you're like, oh, it doesn't sound the same now that you've recut it. Right. But sometimes even that alone can be a new vibe, which is even cooler. Yeah. So...
What made you want to go out to Romania to like record with? Was it AHA Productions or was that is that did I say that right?
Yeah. So actually, I was asked by a management company that's LA based, and said, "Do you want to come?" I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to." So my A&R told me. I went out there. I didn't know that we were gonna work with Romanian producers, writers, and artists too, and that's what made it more fun, honestly, because when you throw somebody in the room who's used to writing LA pop music and then you have someone from Romania write and then it's mixed together. Yeah. It's like you didn't know if you were gonna write an English song or a Romanian song that day, or just the melodies, the cross like pollination of it was really cool. And yeah, obviously made some friends, and also how many times I've never been to Romania in my life, so that was great.
That's a cool experience, though.
Yeah, it was fun. It's honestly like a fun country. It's beautiful. The countryside, it's crazy. It's just all green.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you were able to kind of get inspired for this upcoming EP that you're working on, or is that just something different that you did out there?
Well, the idea was to get songs. And the thing is, I've noticed with camps, very few times have I actually gotten songs from camps but that may change. But putting yourself in a different setting and meeting new people, and you know, it's not like I was always writing for me when I was there. There wasn't as much pressure. It was just, hey, we're writing in a castle. Let's just write some songs. So it actually, people would wind up writing like 3 songs in a day. Some would write 1, some would even go more, which was probably intense, but because you're in a no pressure environment, no one's feeling judged. It's just, let's just make whatever we want. Right. And, you know, I feel like I got some songs that are strong contenders from that, or it's like, I wasn't even thinking like, oh, I should be singing that. I was just like, maybe I'll revisit that. So it gets you out of the work headspace of like, the grind, so to speak.
Nice. Now, since you got the vibe of a different style of music, like you've in the past, you've worked with other artists as well, Hailstorm and Roses as well. Did that kind of like, or how did that kind of inspire the way that you write your own music?
I mean, I love all types of music. Some I'm better at than others when it comes to writing. Actually, the Hailstorm song, that was a pop pitch originally, so we had a whole different production, and they flipped it and they made it like they made it a rock. And I thought that was cool because I knew a little bit about Hailstorm, but not really, and I was like, that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, a couple pop cuts, but nothing crazy. But you know, at least you get to make friends, right? You know, like I'm trying to think. I mean, there's plenty of people where I've worked with where, you know, you don't actually have a song that comes out, but you wrote a song together. and then you might be friends after that, or you write again.
Yeah.
And
So it's a collaborations in the end.
yeah, to me that was cooler, and it makes it less work oriented, being like I have to get a cut.
Right.
So
Go ahead, sorry.
oh no, I was gonna say, like, segueing into it, I think that's what allows me to figure out my sound, because I know that I can do all those.
Yeah.
I can do rock. I mean, sometimes I try to write like urban sessions. It doesn't go that well, but it's still fun. Like, to just mix the collaboration up, and that's how you kind of figure out what would work best on your voice. Because I'll wind up singing the demo sometimes, and then I'll be like, well, that's not my genre.
Right.
And it's like, but I still want to write that genre. And then that's how I lead to my experiment.
And did that kind of like, did the constant writing for the artist kind of lead you into doing your own music, or was this always like on the back of your mind that you wanted to do your solo stuff?
I don't know exactly, because I moved out here at the end of summer after I graduated college, and I had been working in Pro Tools, learning it. And before that, I thought I was going to work in finance, and I did work in finance for a little bit, but it wasn't working out well.
Right.
And I was just learning Pro Tools on the side. And I moved out here for an internship, trying to be an assistant for an A&R. And like 2 weeks into it, one song I'd written in New York got heard by somebody out here, and that put me in the room with Conrad Sewell, who's the Australian. Like, he's awesome. He's such a nice kid. So it was kind of cool, because he kind of segued me into writing, in the sense, he invited me to his birthday. I met all these people, but then I was writing with him. Again, nothing ever came out, but like, we wrote some cool songs. We got to work with some cool people, and that was kind of the first step for me as, oh wow, this could be like a full-time thing, not just a side hustle. And then just more writing took place, and I don't really know what happened, but by Christmas time, I was talking to publishers about signing a deal for writing and producing. And then I thought this last meeting was going to be, this was later on, I thought it was going to be a publishing deal. And it was David Massey. He says to me, no, like, I want you to be an artist.
Damn.
I actually said no a couple of times, like 3, I believe.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, I'd rather be behind the scenes. It's kind of more my personality. And I don't know, he convinced me, but I believed in him. So the third time, he was like, come to New York, like, let's just talk. And I was like, okay, I want to do this. And I wasn't really sure. It's not like I had a body of work. Right. I had a bunch of demos that were written for hopefully other artists, or just to pitch to them. Right. So we were literally starting at ground zero. And that was cool, because I didn't really know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing, which is the best part.
But the fans are loving it.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. Like, I got to open for Astrid S.
Yeah.
And I thought it was fun, because it was, she was, first of all, she was so nice. I remember I got off the stage, and she was like, you talk really well with the crowd, and she's like, how do you not get nervous? And I was like, I am. And she was like, me too. And I was like, that's cool. But wow, she sang really well live, and I was definitely a little nervous, because I was watching her warm up, and I was like, I just had a guitar, and she had the whole thing going on. Yeah. But it was a really intimate crowd in New York. That was the first one, and then an intimate crowd here. And then I had a couple showcases after that, and yeah, I'm just starting to get more comfortable, and as the comfort and confidence comes along, I sometimes write better songs. I still write bad songs all the time.
Of course, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, more than there's more bad songs than good ones. It's like one of every, like, I don't even know, 50, 100, 1,000, who knows? But it truly varies. Yeah.
And now as you're continuing to write more music, can fans expect this like debut EP anytime this year maybe, or is that something you're still kind of like, you're trying to feel out the singles?
No, I mean, ideally, yeah, this year would be awesome, but I just don't want to put, I'd rather put like quality over quantity. Yeah. And I feel like we're in a market where, when you look at streaming services, everybody just wants to spoon feed, put a bunch of songs out, and it works for some people, but I don't know. I guess it's more of I just want to take my time, because I've been taking my time, like, on average, putting a song out roughly almost every 4 to 6 months, And in 3 songs, I've developed a completely new sound. So had I just rushed and put a bunch of music out, I don't think I would have. Maybe I would have gotten to this sound faster, but I don't know if I would have.
With the quality, yeah, you would see the difference in quality for sure, especially because like you do everything. Other artists have a producer and other people like working their stuff, but you kind of like work on all your music, right?
Well, for some songs, yeah. I mean, for Sexual Vibe, yeah, I started an idea with that, but I knew I needed, like, I started a production idea that was pretty far, but I knew I needed a friend to help me finish it,
Right.
because, like, I never even, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So, you know, I ask for help, and that was fine. And then the second song, I didn't start the production idea. I just put chords down on the piano. My friends, they were producing it out, and then at the end, I was like, can I just put a couple things down? I have a couple ideas, and they wound up staying in the song. And, you know, I guess I had recorded my vocals too, but, you know, there's nothing wrong with asking help from your friends, especially when they may have more experience. And then it's also okay to not do everything, is what I've recently learned. Yeah. I always love to be in control, and I love the idea of just producing it. But I also have to realize I've only been producing for 2 years now, like ever. So it's okay to step back and let someone else. Yeah, and that just because I'm not touching the keyboard doesn't mean I can still give ideas. And that's what I've been doing recently. I've been exploring working with new people always, just because it's good and it's healthy. Right. And it also prevents me from getting like in that slump, that writer's block, producer block. Right. Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Well, thanks for taking the time to speak with me today. Like I said, I love the 3 singles you've released. I really dig Look Away, and I really dig Sexual Vibes, the acoustic version. Like, I don't know. I want to hear your voice in that kind of pitch a little more. Hopefully that's something. Yeah, somewhere around there. So thanks again for hanging out with me. You guys be sure to check out Stephen Puth. New single Look Away is out now. Thanks for watching Out Front Row Live.